Hey guys, it's Tarkan. You remember me, I hope. Some of you probably do. Some of you, I don't know who the fuck you are, and you don't know who the fuck I am, but that's okay. Um, those of you who do know me probably know that I'm in Germany at the moment. And on Saturday, we're going to be driving to Turkey. Um, we usually fly, but about a month or so ago, we had a discussion and a bad feeling that something was going to happen, and then it did. There was that terrorist attack on the airport in Istanbul, which killed many people and injured many people. And that is the airport where we usually land. And the area where that occurred is where we usually exit the airport after we go through customs and passport control and all that jazz. So we decided this year that we're going to drive. Um, Not to mention that we have very good friends who come to pick us up there, and they could have been there. If I'd come any earlier, they would have been there. They would have gotten hurt potentially. We would have gotten hurt potentially, or killed even, and that's just not acceptable. So we're driving this year. And we did this drive a couple of years ago, and we did it when I was a kid in the early 80s. It was a very different time, a very different kind of drive. The road conditions since then have improved dramatically. And of course, at that time in the early 80s, we drove in a old beat up VW bus packed with food and chocolate and cigarettes that we used to bribe the police and people at the borders. I remember that. Yeah, that was 82 and 83, I believe, that we did that. Anyway, the roads are now much improved, and of course the Iron Curtain is gone. That route took us through Bulgaria, which at that time was still deep behind the Iron Curtain, and through all the what was then still Yugoslavia, which was the longest stretch at that time. And now, of course, there is no Yugoslavia. It's just this clusterfuck of countries now. Croatia, Slovenia, Serbia, etc. Uh, so, yeah, I'm trying to think of the mileage here, how long it took, how long it's going to take. I do know that if you just drive straight without stopping, you could get there in 24 hours straight. But of course, we are going to stop. Um, we're going to stop along the way. We may spend the night in Croatia in Zagreb. I think we can make it there on the first day. From Germany, we'll pass through Austria, Slovenia, and then straight into Croatia, and then we'll hit Zagreb probably at night, and we'll probably sleep there. Um, and then the next day we'll continue to Serbia and Bulgaria, and then we'll reach Turkey. Um, and then from there, from the Turkish border, Bulgaria and Turkey, it's not very far to where I go, where my family's from, my father's side. Uh, so anyway, I thought it'd be fun to show you guys on the map because people are always asking me about this drive and where do you go and what countries do you pass through and how long does it take and all this stuff. So I have some maps. Yesterday we went to the ADAC, which is the German version of AAA, only much more German. Uh, you know, Giant stone building with marble floors, and all the girls there that work there are supermodels, right? Which was fun. And I'm an incurable flirt. Anyway, so they provide you with maps. They map everything out for you. They print out all the documents that you need. A lot of these countries we pass through, they're gonna, they require that we pay a toll before we enter, so we get stickers we have to put in the windshield. Some of them we have to actually go through an actual traditional border with passport control, and because some of them are not. Well, Serbia is not in the EU yet, and considering what's been happening, they may not even want to be in the EU anymore. But I do know in Serbia, they go through every car. Um, so the lines at that border can be very long, and then they each have their own stipulations of what you need to have along. It's ridiculous in some cases. Serbia wants you to have spare light bulbs in your car. I don't know what the fuck that is about, but um, they're nuts. Serbia is an interesting place. I won't go into that too deeply, but I think let's see, we did this drive some years back in 2011 and 2012. And the first year, 2011, we took a different route. We cut all the way south through Serbia and passed through Macedonia, which is really mountainous, and into Greece. And then in Greece, we hung a left towards Turkey, and I think it was past Thessaloniki, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. From there, there's that last stretch to the Turkish border, and it's really strange. Very isolated and desolate road. Like chain link fences on either side. Hardly anywhere to stop, and it just goes on for days, just forever. It's very, very tiring and kind of disconcerting, to be honest with you, because you kind of feel like you're on the moon a little bit. I remember feeling like that. But of course, I'd been driving for days and I was really tired. And it was hot. But I remember it took forever to get to the border. So we're not going to do that route this time. We're going to go through Serbia, and then we're going to cut up to Bulgaria. We're going to cut through Bulgaria, and that's a much quicker route. And then we'll hit the Turkish border, and that's a much more chill border than the one between Greece and Turkey. So that shouldn't take us as long, right? Anyway, so yeah, I want to show you guys on these maps that they provided us. And actually, I took a highlighter. It probably won't show up on the video, but I'll show you with my finger. I do a lot of things with my finger. The route that we're going to take. Honestly, when we did this before, we didn't sleep. I think one time we did stay in Zagreb. There's a nice little hotel up there above the city in the woods a little bit. That's really nice, but we're crazy. We're crazy in my family. It's about getting there. It's not about, well, it's about reaching the place. It's not about getting there. And those of you who know me should know that my family's probably nuts. They would have to be, because I'm fucking nuts. So, without much further ado, yeah, let me show you. Let me show you how this is gonna go.
All right, so what I have here is a map of Germany, and I guess you can see the highlighter pretty well on here actually. So I'm going to actually zoom in here for a minute and show you. This is where I am currently. Actually, Dortmund is where I was born, and we're just a little bit south of here, about 15 minutes outside the city. So we're going to be starting from there. And as you can see, it takes us all the way down across Germany from north to south, or rather southeast. We're going to pass by Frankfurt, and then continue on towards Nuremberg. That's the place of the famous trials and rallies in the 30s. You can Google that if you want. Regensburg. Now we're in Bavaria, and unfortunately we can't avoid Bavaria. So, and also this is we're going to start hitting quite a bit of elevation around here as we continue on to Passau. Passau is where we cross into Austria, Österreich. So this is the Austrian border, which will just be a sign saying "Welcome to Austria." We continue there. We keep going south into Austria, and I'm going to actually switch maps here for a minute. So you can see what we have here is, this is Southeast Europe. So there's southern Germany right here. Austria here. This is Austria. You've got the Czech Republic there. All right. Actually, this is the Czech Republic. Sorry. This is Slovakia. Here we have Slovenia, Croatia a little bit, Hungary. So we're actually going to be, this is about where I left off. So we're going to continue through Austria this way, all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way through till we hit Graz, and then continue south from Graz into Slovenia. Now, Slovenia is where the former Yugoslavia begins. So this is the first country we hit that was once part of Yugoslavia. And we're crossing here, as you can see. We're going to hit Maribor and then continue on south into Croatia. This is a pretty short stint here. It's very nice. It's very picturesque and mountainous. But it's really only going to take about an hour, I think, something like that, till we hit Croatia. And I'm going to switch again. So here we have, well, actually, that was the Austria map. This is the Southeast Europe map. So here we have, you can see pretty much all of former Yugoslavia here. All right, Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, Kosovo, Macedonia. And this was all Yugoslavia once. And so we're going to be, like I said, a very short stint through Slovenia. And then we'll hit the Croatian border, and we're going to keep going to Zagreb, which is the capital of Croatia. And I believe we might very well spend the night there, as I mentioned earlier, although we may not. Either way, we go through Croatia for quite a bit as we straddle the border here between Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina. We never enter this country, but we straddle it for quite a while. And then we hit Serbia. Now, Serbia is where we're going to get our first border control. So, you know, I said this earlier, they search every car, and we've seen these lines go on for days on either side. But usually, since now the vacation time is starting in Europe, you know, you've got the whole Turkish diaspora descending on Turkey from all over Europe, mostly Western Europe. You know, they're going to come through here. So there's going to be quite a bit of a backup here in this area. And I had suggested that we try to time it so that we hit this part at night. I'm thinking even like close to midnight. And I'm hoping that, you know, a lot of people will just be sort of camping on the side of the road, sleeping, which we see a lot of. That's kind of what people do. They just sort of sleep in their cars or outside. So we're going to try to actually hit it, and we should have an easier time crossing if we do it at night. From there, we continue on through Serbia. Now, Serbia is the longest stretch of this trip. And, you know, it's going to take us around Beograd. And then we cut southeast a little bit, all the way through Serbia here, until we hit Bulgaria. Bulgaria is in the EU, so there won't be, Serbia is not, so there will be another passport border check there. Um, but then it shouldn't be too bad. I'm hoping it won't be too bad. Once we're in Bulgaria, we're pretty much almost there. We're going to hit Sofia, capital of Bulgaria, for those of you who don't know. And we're going to continue all the way across Bulgaria here. Plovdiv. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that. Dimitrovgrad. And then we hit Turkey. So this is kind of the European, I call it the nipple, the European nipple of Turkey. You can see Istanbul here. You can see the Bosphorus here. And on the other side of this is Asia. This is Asia. This is still technically Europe. But we're not going this way. We're cutting south right here, just past Edirne. We're going to cut south, and I'll show you on the next map where that is. This is a map of Turkey. So you can see we got Syria, Iraq, Iran, Armenia, Georgia. So this is eastern Turkey. I'm not going there at all. In fact, I don't recommend anyone goes there. This is southern Turkey. Antalya is usually where, this is kind of very much the tourist area where a lot of people go. You get hotels and things like resorts and things like that there. We don't go there either. That's for tourists. But it's very, very nice down there. It's very hot down there. And of course, it's hot everywhere in Turkey in the summer. You got Cyprus here. But actually, where we're going to be is here. So as you can see, we're going to enter from Bulgaria here. Edirne. You can see the Greek border. This is that stretch I was talking about earlier, the one we're going to avoid now. We're coming this way instead. And then we're going to cut south. Actually, probably here we're going to cut south. Because we're going down here to, this is the Gallipoli Peninsula, Gelibolu in Turkish. And Çanakkale, Kilitbayır, that is where I go when I go to Turkey. This is where my father was from, Kilitbayır. My whole Turkish side of the family is from here, from this region here, this peninsula. And you can see this little strait here, the Dardanelles. Now this is the Aegean Sea. And this is the only waterway into the Black Sea. So you go through here into the Marmara Sea, then you pass through Istanbul, and then here you're in the Black Sea. And then from there you can reach the Ukraine, Russia, those areas. But yeah, this is where we go. We're very, very beautiful. I like to swim right here at the tip. There's a nice little beach down there that I like to drive to. And it's extremely enjoyable. It's not crowded. It's very, still very agricultural, this whole peninsula. It's beautiful. You got all kinds of fields. And Çanakkale is a little bit bigger. There's a university there. So when I like to go out and have some fun, I take the ferry across to Çanakkale, and I spend the evening there, have drinks, and see music and that kind of thing. But yeah, this is where I'm going to be for the next 3 weeks. So anyway, hopefully that was informative for you all, or at least a little bit fun. It's going to be quite a drive, but I don't know if I'm going to have access to the internet during the drive, but I'll try. I would say if you don't hear from me, for a week following Saturday, you can pretty much rest assured I'm dead. And in that case, I would like to request that the roadside let the fire blaze at least for one night in my honor. But you can discuss that amongst yourselves. And yeah, but otherwise, hopefully I will see you all in August on the flip side. Those of you that live in Portland. And I hope you all have a wonderful summer and that you be good, but not too good. All right.